Hey, what up, what up? As you can see, there is snow all over Los Santos, and I'd be doing you and whichever car was tested a disservice by running it now. So instead of taking the month off, I decided to finish the year strong with the GTA 6 wish list. This list is made of cars that I can't find in GTA 5, or at least have a crappy version I don't want. First things first, there's no newest Lambo, Koenigsegg or Mustang or anything like that. We all know those rides are going to make an appearance in the game. I'm not wasting your time or mine. Instead, these are cars that I think are visually fire and would love to tool around Vice City in. I'm not expecting them on day one, but if GTA 6 ends up to be anything like 5, then it's not a big ask to drip feed these rides over the next 12 years. Like I mentioned, some of these whips make an appearance in Los Santos, but they have another car's front or rear or something Frankenstein like that. But since Rockstar is now playing biting car designs, and thank you very much by the way, I'd like to see these actual models make an appearance. Second, when creating this list, I threw performance out the window. GTA is a game where none of the cars crack 200 miles an hour, and there's a Veyron in the game. Rockstar is going to do what Rockstar is going to do with performance, so this is pretty much based on looks. Moving forward, I've broken these down by category. Sure, some of the cars probably can fit in multiple categories, but they are where they are. And with that, let's get to it. First up is sedan class. In this game, and for the most part in real life too, I feel that 4 doors or 2 doors too many. But from time to time, there are a couple 4 doors that catch my eyes. First up is Cadillac CL. This is a gorgeous convertible concept that was originally revealed in 2011 at Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance, and it has earned all the drip. Just for that extra pop of cool, Caddy went with suicide doors on the rear. Now, I've never seen the top up on this whip, but it's listed as a convertible and not as a roadster. But to be honest with you, why would you want to keep the sun off your smile when you're cruising around town in this? And Rockstar, let's get them doors right. Don't cheap out on us like you did with the Koenigsegg's. Next up, Caddy Concept 16. Here's another concept from Caddy revealed back in 03. It's a rear-wheel drive homage to the Caddy V16 of the 30s, which explains the classic hood feature. Originally, I thought the chrome trim under the hood was the exhaust, but I see that it's actually a quad out the back. Unfortunately, this and the CL never actually made it to production, but the design language led directly to the design and production of something else on this list. Okay, last Caddy for this section. You might think I'm a huge Caddy fanboy, but seriously, look at this beauty and explain how you could hate. Technically, this ain't a sedan, but a 2-row fastback convertible version of the Celestiq sedan concept. And seeing how I didn't make a fastback category, here we are. All right, now on to our first non-Caddy sedan. And that goes to the Fisker Karma, which originally launched a year ahead of its electric rival, the Model S. Back in the day, which was a Wednesday by the way, this all-electric, I know, but hear me out here. This all-electric was a stunning head-turner. Unfortunately, Fisker only made the one model year as the sole battery provider went under and Fisker just couldn't recover from the loss, making these very rare and highly sought after. Had the company been able to adapt and overcome, they had plans for a 2-door convertible version called the Sunset. Since GTA 5 has a Karma version in the Chameleon, I'd accept the Sunset as a substitute. Now let's jet off across the pond and check out the 2008 Jaguar XJ. Y'all remember the 2015 Jaguar campaign where they flat out said their cars were made for villains? Yeah, this is 7 years before that campaign, but that's what this Jag is to me. Sleek, refined, but if you step out of line, like its namesake, it will pounce all over you. In black with subtle chrome accents, this whip is sinister, a true villain's car. And it's good to be bad. 2015 Maserati Quattroporte. Our last sedan is the absolute sexy Quattroporte. Sleek in design with a nice growl up the back. I believe the boys in Top Gear referred to this whip as a car in a tuxedo, and that analogy is well deserved. The low nose with that Maserati grille, the skinny eyes that give you side-eye appearance from any angle. Maserati released this car with the rear wheel and all-wheel drive option. So maybe Rockstar can give us the option as well. All right, that's it for the sedan list. Let's move on to trucks and vans. First one of the three is the Ford SVT Lightning. Yeah, see, when I started this, Agents of Sabotage hadn't dropped, which brought us the F-150 Lightning. And now it's out with the Agents of Sabotage DLC. So thanks a lot, Rockstar. Really appreciate it. With the killer top speed, this truck could slaughter the competition. Ford Transit Supervan. So anyone who's played any version of GTA will agree that vans in GTA suck. They do. All of them. In every game. But I think Rockstar should change that. And I don't mean just add boost to a van and call it a day. I mean, give us a van that handles like a sports car. And the van that comes to mind for me is the Ford Transit Supervan. The Supervan first appeared in England back in 1971. And there have been variants over the decades all the way up to 2023's electric Supervan 4.2. which conquered Pikes Peak in the first place in its division. But the one I want, the one that captured my attention, the one that made me say, what is that, is the 84 Supervan 2. This mid-engine beast is fitted with a front air dam, large side air inlets, and high-mounted rear spoiler. Supervan 2 could be the van to turn around that van stigma in GTA. Next is a semi-truck. That's not really a truck, but is a truck. It's the Steinwinter Supercargo. This was a joint collaboration between Steinwinter and Mercedes. The coolest feature about this truck is that the cabin was cantilevered in front of the front wheels and engine with the load above. Once detached from the bulk, the cab can be driven around with the agility of a long wheelbase car. Not a fast or nimble car, but still. The only rolling model of the car was showcased on a show titled Highwayman. The supercargo never made to production because of its poor visibility. To be honest, would probably be the same issue in GTA 6 if you tried driving this beast around in third person from way back behind the trailer. Now how low can you go? Trucks and vans is done. Let's move on to something a little bit more exciting, like sport coupes. First up is the BMW 507. This is a classic BMW tourer that in its limited 3-year run is rumored to have almost bankrupted the Bavarian Motor Works. This is a sexy, sexy 2-seater sports coupe. I'm not really a fan of the bubble hardtop version, but that convertible is to kill for. And to be honest with you, I can't believe this is considered a failure. It's sleek, stylish, and looks like fun sitting still. Dip this in some candy paint, get her some stylish rims, and this is the perfect sun-out, top-down beach ride. Rockstar, gimme, 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 gimme. Next up is one of the sleekest front-engine rear-wheel rides to ever hit the road, the BMW 8 Series. The original 8 Series was a 2-door, 4-ish seater Grand Tour, and I kid you not, sexy as hell. I said I wouldn't talk about performance, but never said nothing about the drivetrain. And this whip came standard with the 4.0 to a 4.4-liter V8 mated to an auto 4, 5, or a manual 6. Now, if that ain't enough heat for you, you could opt in for the 5.0 all the way up to a 5.6-liter V12 mated only to the manual 6. All of this without getting an M version. A cabriolet had been considered, but thankfully never put in production. Rockstar, make this timeless beauty. BMW Z8. They say life is secular, and our last BMW on the list is the spiritual successor to the 507, which is the stunning Z8 Roadster. I remember the first time I saw this whip was in the 007 movie No Time to Die, and true to the 507 silhouette, the Z8 is immortal. Those curvy lines were designed by Henry Fisker. Remember the Karma from earlier? Yeah, that Fisker. He did a great job of merging that shark nose with those wide wheel arches, but not over-developing the car like so many today. I've seen a few shots of the Z8 with the bubble top like the OG 507, and even one with the fastback, which out of the two would be what I preferred, although I don't believe BMW ever offered it. The Z8 is art on wheels. The Caddy CN concept. The only Caddy in this section is another concept car that only made it to Hollywood in the movie The Island. Unlike the Z8, this angular mid-engine silver movie star was designed to be a high-performance car. This concept and all the previous cars from Caddy kicked off the arrow-shaped design phase for the manufacturer. This one wasn't for showing up, but instead for showing out. With its scissor doors and active arrow, it's the type of car you could fling around the track in the morning, wash and wax it, and not look out of place in your fancy pants gala later that night. Jaguar E-Type. Back in our villain's hideout is the Jaguar E-Type. Okay, so this isn't really a villain's car, but more of a Grand Tour sports car. That long hood hides a mid-front engine V12. San Andreas had a version called the Windsor, and even though that name was used for Bentley in GTA 5, they could easily bring back the original. They did it with the Banshee. I can't officially confirm, but I believe that Jaguar is making a 60th anniversary model, so now's the time to get on this rock star. My only question, drop or coupe? Jaguar XJS. I've always loved the front of this car, but I hated the back. Those flying buttresses along the back lid just scream old. So why is it on the list? Because once you lose the roof, it becomes a handsome car. Maintaining that long Jag hood with those big cat eye inspired headlights always turns my head. The kid-sized back seats were also removed with the hardtop, making it perfect for you and a close friend. Nissan IDX. Our only Nissan to make the list is the IDX. Inspired by the Datsun 510, this oddly shaped concept hits all the futuristic notes. This is Nissan's answer to the 2013 rear-wheel tuner craze. With that big chin and itty-bitty lights, this design shouldn't work, but it does. The Nismo version sells it much better, but even the standard version is cool. I guess we could buy the original, then have a GTX 6 version of Benny's give us the Nismo. Wiseman MF5. For our last sports coupe, I put the Wiseman MF5 down, but honestly, I'd love to have any of the Wiseman in the game. The MF5, Roadster, hell, even the MF30, whichever, I don't care. These hand-built German rockets are amazing to behold. Old styling with modern parts make the Wiseman timeless. It's a shame, because last I heard, they still aren't legal in the States. Alright, that's it for coupes. Time to move on to our one and only motorcycle. Dodge Tomahawk. Okay, technically, this isn't a motorcycle. It's a car with handlebars. The debate comes from the fact that the four close-coupled separate wheels are held in place by the sidearms, which give it a motorcycle look, but the two front and two rear wheels are sprung independently. This allows the vehicle to lean into corners and corner steer like a motorcycle. So, again, it looks like a motorcycle, acts like a motorcycle, but it's a car with handlebars. Now that we've moved past the controversy, let's move to the Tomahawk's party piece, the engine. The V10 engine, sourced straight out of a Dodge Viper, gives a new meaning to crotch rocket. The 2004 concept was never meant to be built for sale, but the reception was so big that Daimler Chrysler announced that they would sell hand-built reproductions on order. I never got mine, Rockstar. You can fix this too. Up next, we got the muscle class. Caddy CT6V Blackwing. First muscle car is our last Caddy for the list. All the concepts that were on this list before were built into this. When the CTS dropped in 03, it was fresh and new. It didn't just turn heads, but it brought new, young money to the brand. Then, in 2019, the CT6V Blackwing dropped. And with the Z06 power plant, it took the beauty of the CTS and turned it into the tire-shredding beast. This is the mob boss car that cleared the Nürburgring in less than 8 minutes. Even today, that's impressive time for a four-door. Ditch that Albany VSTR and build a proper Blackwing rockstar. Holden Maloo R8 LSA. Our second muscle machine is from the land down under. Part car, part truck, all muscle. The Holden Special Vehicle Coupe Utility, or for the people in the know, a Ute, is based off the Holden Club Sports sedan, but chopped, stripped, and turned up to 11. It was produced in 3 variants, the Maloo R8, the Maloo R8 SV, and the Maloo GTS. And depending on your trim, it came equipped with a 5.0, 5.7, 6.0, or 6.2 liter engine and made it to a 4 or 6 speed auto or a 5 or 6 speed manual. Being a subsidiary of GM, Each one of these variants is powered by a GM-LS motor and rides on a GM platform, most commonly the Zeta. The Maloo holds the record as the fastest ute in the world. Mercury Cougar XR7. Our last muscle car is the 68 Cougar XR7. The Cougar ran from 67 to 2002 with the 1-year suspension in 98. And this particular cat was prepared for NASCAR by some of the best in the field, including Bud Moore and drivers Dan Gurney and Parnell Jones. The Cougar's always been a sweet ride, but has always been overshadowed by its older sister, the Mustang. I think there's room in GTA 6 for both rides, GT500 or an Eleanor, and the XR7, or maybe even an Eliminator. If the Mustang is Marilyn, then the Cougar is Betty. Before our last class, let's hit a few honorable mentions. Shazoom. Our first honorable mention is the Shazoom, which started life as a 1957 Chevy Bel Air. Destined for a life of obscurity in a sea of Bel Airs, this one was rescued by Boyd Coddington and sculpted into this retro dream car. Next up, from Dodge, is the Dodge Daytona Charger. Now, I know you can mod a Bravado Gauntlet to make it resemble a Daytona Charger, but why can't we just have the real thing? We have the Duke. Why can't we put the nose cone and the wing on it and have the proper car with the proper proportions? Dodge Defender. For our last Dodge on the list, it's the Dodge Viper, because we don't have any of those in GTA. The one in particular that I'm looking for is from the TV show Viper. This was a show in the 90s that Dodge co-founded so they could showcase the Viper's awesomeness. It's a little less than Knight Rider, but a little more than Street Hawk. The armored Viper in the show was called the Defender. It was armed with a drone, a harpoon, and an EMP cannon. All this could easily fit into the world of GTA, making it a Monty Tech or maybe even a Merryweather vehicle. Boom. GTT. This is a bit of a side-eye addition, but a proper GTT would be perfect. The Dominator GTX, which is modeled after the GTT, is a poor imitation with its Camaro grille and Charger taillights. It's time to let the OG shine. Highwayman truck. Designed and built by John Ward for the show Highwayman. Hey, that sounds familiar. Go check it out. Perfect 80s sci-fi. Stars a truck that's a helicopter. Or a helicopter that's a truck. This would have to be Warstock. Just imagine being chased down the freeway and holding right on the D-pad and you convert into a helicopter. The truck-based trailer could come back to you Optimus Prime trailer style once you land, or maybe if you press the D-pad again. Shelby Daytona. Next up is one of my favorite cars of all time, the 427 Cobra. Now I know we got the Mamba in GTA 5, but I also want the hardtop race car version, which is the Daytona Cobra. This could be a Benny's conversion. Shooting brake. If you were in the car culture about 10 years back, there was a big trend of making shooting brakes. If you're unaware, a shooting brake is basically a station wagon or an estate car with only 2 doors. So kind of like a hatch, but on a longer wheelbase. One such model that I always thought was fire was the Callaway Aerowagon, based on the C7 Corvette. Vulgati. Last of the honorables is a machine. I found it on YouTube and damn is it hot. It's called the Vulgati. The Frankenstein mashup is an old Russian Volga and a Bugatti Chiron and a bit of a BMW. This whip is sick and I would absolutely love to spin it in GTA 6. If you haven't seen it, check out the channel, watch the build, great stuff. Links in the description. This is it, the last class, the supercar. Ferrari Monza, SP1, SP2. First up in our superclass is the Ferrari race car, the SP1 or the SP2. Either's fine with me. The only difference is that the SP1 is a 1-seater and the 2 is a 2-seater. Shocking, right? I'm not much of a fan of race cars in GTA, but this ride is a thing of beauty, and I would love to tear up some pavement with this. As long as Ferrari's okay with it, cause, I don't want anybody to get sued. Ford GT90. In the 90s, Ford wanted to make a successor to the GT40, and they prototyped this semi-angular, future retro-shaped mid-engine supercar. With its active aero, this concept car displayed Ford's new-at-the-time edge philosophy. Designed in Detroit, but built with spare Jaguar parts, including the transmission and chassis from the XJ220. Ford speculated that the GT90 would have been the McLaren F1's nightmare. Maserati MC12. Once described as an Enzo in a fat suit, I always thought the MC12 was a better looking ride. And the Enzo in GTA, the Grotti Cheetah, in my opinion, is an ugly ass car. It's oddly shaped, the wheelbase is too long, and the backwards folds and curves are in strange places. Rockstar, save us from this monstrosity with a properly proportioned MC12. Same performance specs, just a bit more cake. Porsche 918 Spider. The Porsche Carrera GT always looked like two separate cars that Porsche welded together. The performance specs are wild, but as for looks, pass. But then the 918 launched, and hot damn is that some sexy sheet metal. Gone is that weird mismatched roofline, that ugly spoiler looks like someone bolted it on their backyard. Replaced with sleek curves and active aero that is molded into the bodywork. It's time to replace the 811 with a 918 successor. Saleen S7. One gorgeous ride that I feel never got enough love is the Saleen S7. This beauty made a quick appearance in Bruce Almighty. Outside that, I don't recall it making any other starring appearance. And honestly, it should have. It's sleek and exotic enough looking that it really should be the hero car in some form of media. The next two cars are from the mind of one of the most well-respected car pioneers of the 60s, Carroll Shelby. First up, the GR1. Now I admit that in its chrome form, this car is a bit much, but when you mute the shiny and let the body lines speak for themselves, the beauty of this ride really begins to shine. Really, almost the 2005 version of the Shelby Daytona. Our last Shelby creation that I want in GTA 6 is the Shelby Series 1. This open-top roadster is again a modern reimagining of the AC Cobra. I guess if it ain't broke, just paint it silver. Honestly, I'd accept the Series 1 and the GR1 as the same car. Just a before and after Benny's got his hands on it. And no, this isn't like the Dodge Charger Daytona issue. Both of these cars have the same proportions that overall are close enough to put a roof on it and have it still look good. 2009 SSC Ultimate Aero. Finally, the last car. And it too is a Shelby ride, but not that Shelby. The company Shelby Supercars, or as it's now known, SSC, built the Ultimate Aero, which held the title of the fastest production car in the world from 2007 to 2010. This basically slots in between the McLaren F1 and the Veyron, and I feel it doesn't get the love it deserves. Rockstar, you can change this. That's it. We're done with the entire list. 37 rides I'd love to see drop in GTA 6. Time to spin the wheel and try not to get closed again. In the meantime, from me to you and yours, Happy New Year, and I'll catch you all on the mean streets of Los Santos. Later.